Hi, welcome to another Man of Steel fan gives hope, the Facebook page on YouTube. Why do I say that? Because there's a Facebook page called Man of Steel fan gives hope, and this is a video from the creator sharing his thoughts and views and stuff. So we have there's always this talk about Zack Snyder stepping away from his family and stuff like stepping away from the film to be with his family and stuff, and then things started come up and who will direct future films, will this be him finished with it? And of course it's not him finished with the DCU. He's the one that sort of created the DCEU. You like it or not, he's the one. He's brought on board with Christopher Nolan to do Man of Steel. Well, Christopher Nolan asked Zack Snyder to be interested in making a Superman movie. He then had an idea for a sequel. He mentioned Bruce Wayne. Batman v Superman came out, and as soon as he did that, he started working on the Justice League, writing for helped write the story for Wonder Woman. So he sort of planned it out, and so the question rose when he stepped down: would he come back to direct Justice League 2? Now, for me, should he direct Justice League 2? No. And when I say no, I mean he shouldn't need to direct Justice League 2. It's not like he has to do it because he's directed the first one. I'm a fan of Zack Snyder. I'm a fan of the DCU, and I'm not as much. Oh, excuse me. But for me, I would just, and I've said this many times before, I would just like them to be a success, whatever which way and who directs it. I don't, even if I dislike the person, I'd rather the film do well, rather than my own personal view and who's behind the camera or story or character depiction. Funny word which I couldn't say right. Getting the character right. I would rather it really do well, because it will say so much for the DCU. So you've got him stepping down and he's way enjoying his family, and this sad time, and our thoughts and stuff go out to him. And now he had already written the Justice League as the trilogy, and he'd got the idea that they should end the trilogy with the Justice League film, and then that sort of changed, and now it was going to be a two-parter or something like that, and it was all going to be this, but now it's going to be a standalone film. So the question is, what should be the next film? Who should be the villain in the next Justice League film? It shouldn't necessarily be Darkseid, but that raises the question: if not Darkseid, then who should be the villain of the piece? Well, I'll leave that to you and your comments below. Now, Joss Whedon directed Avengers, and it became a success. But when he was doing Age of Ultron, he lost, even though he made this big film, made lots of money, he was hammered by what he could do. The studio, or Kevin Feige, basically advised him how to direct the next film, and he didn't enjoy it. He doesn't enjoy Age of Ultron. It wasn't the film, hence why he's came over to DC for a wee while. And that is what we've got to be careful with, and Warner Brothers has learnt that lesson at an early stage by films like The I Love, Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. The studios got involved and they took a director's the director's vision and director's storytelling, and they've told them how to direct, and it became less of their movie and more of the studio movie. And as I say, Zack Snyder got hurt badly with cutting his film. David Ayer got it badly with his film, even though he says that's the film, that was his film. Still, those rumours persist. And for me, I mean, Zack Snyder could leave the Justice League and go. He's been saying he's got this other film on the works that he wants to make, photography or whatever it was. And now, that said, if he's now going away, when he comes back, he's going to start making that movie, then that might be another 2 years down the line before he needs to even think of coming back to the DCU. But I firmly believe he will always be connected to the DCEU. He will be, he'll be guiding some of the other directors that come up. He'll be taking an interest in James Wan's Aquaman, Shazam and stuff. Sort of an advisor, maybe. But I mean, I believe he helped Patty Jenkins out, not only just with the story, but maybe with some of the action sequences. But I'm not trying to give, discredit Patty Jenkins. All I'm saying is Zack Snyder will be involved. Maybe, a little bit here or there, and maybe occasionally a lot more. But when the Justice League comes out, and if Zack Snyder's free, yeah, okay, bring him on, But the benefit of having another director is seeing what they could do with these characters, see the different styles, because we don't want these films to feel like the last one. And let's see what other directors can make these characters look like. Like what would Joss Whedon do if he had a full script? What would James Cameron do? What would Steven Spielberg do? What would what would Martin Scorsese do to the Justice League? What kind of film we'll be getting? That's, to me, is another great way of seeing our characters in our lifetime being handled differently, but staying within the sandbox of the previous movies. And when I say sandbox, it just means they're following a guideline of the same guidelines that was on the last films. So, as I say, win, is a win-win. We don't get Zack Snyder for the next part of Justice League, then we're in for something different. But it'll be falling on to the story, no doubt, or maybe not. Maybe it'll be a new villain. Who will that villain be? If you think of Brainiac, well, Brainiac could be a good villain for Superman 2, or Man of Steel 2. So maybe you like to put your thoughts and ideas on who this, because it doesn't necessarily need to be Darkseid. They could prolong the visitation of Darkseid till maybe the third film. Maybe Zack Snyder can come in and do the third movie, the Star. I was going to say Star Wars because I was thinking of Star Wars, because you had different directors for the original trilogy. So it kept within the sandbox, but it had a different vision. So that would be really good for something like the Justice League. You know, yeah, we'll be missing things out of the Justice League film if another director came out. You know, the cinematography. We would miss that from Zack Snyder, but we would gain something else. Who knows what we would miss? But we would have that new approach, and then he could always come back for a third movie, or maybe Zack Snyder could go on and start making the Green Lantern movie while somebody else is doing the Justice League, and they both of them share ideas, and that's his film, that's my film, you know. And when Zack Snyder does come back, fully fresh from the film that he was previously doing outside of the DCU, you know, it all really stems from, will this film be a success? I mean, if this film is a massive, massive success, I mean beating the Avengers, which I really doubt, because the Avengers is Disney, it's catered for the younger ones. Will it be a massive... If Justice League is a massive, massive success, then I would think Warner Brothers will find it hard to not bring Zack Snyder in. But if it does reasonably okay, if it's good, you know, then, you know, it's... I mean, how would you feel? You know, you've got a good film going, you've got the faith in Zack Snyder. It'll be a hard decision for them to get a director, but look what they're doing just now. Okay, there's talks about they've got a director for Suicide Squad 2, the guy, the director behind The Accountant and stuff. They're trying to get Robert Zemeckis. I mean, what would Robert Zemeckis do with the Justice League? Well, they're still talking with him about the Flash movie. You know, I don't think anybody could knock back the Justice League if they thought Robert Zemeckis was behind it. You know? So, no, but if it's a massive success, then I think they will really, really want Zack back. And for a lot of Zack Snyder fans, they'll be, you know, they'll be cheering. You know, so, and I will be cheering too. But, you know, there's always that bit inside you. We wonder, what would have happened if, you know, if James Cameron did it, or this other director, what would we have got? So, my main thing is, whatever happens after Justice League, right, whatever happens with Zack Snyder, if we get another director for Justice League 2, don't worry about it. You know, and probably the director was probably chosen by Zack Snyder himself, thinking, you know, because he did ask Joss Whedon to come on board. Two of them are buddies, you know, and Zack Snyder, as I say, didn't like the first draft of his film and wanted reshoots done, and got Joss Whedon to fill in the gaps. So if they can be on board, then we can be on board on whatever decision they make, okay? Because what happens in Justice League, they'll take that and they will want to repeat that success. Not necessarily with the same team behind it. And hopefully they'll try and keep it the same sort of way, but again, they cannot be too... They've got to loosen the grip. They've got to let whatever director in have full range, so we can see what that director has brought to the table. And we can't, you know, some months down the line, we're not saying that, his film was ripped to bits, studios came in, and we would have loved to see what the Justice League film would have been like if the director managed to make his movie his way. We don't want that again, right? We want whatever director's on board to give him a chance and get his vision told, whether it be Zack Snyder or any other director. Let us know what you think anyway in comments below. Maybe you have directors you might want to see have a chance. Maybe that's a film you've just seen and you thought, wow, that was a fantastic film, who directed that? Wow, what would he do? Or maybe you've got ideas who the perfect villain is for Justice League 2. Let us know in your comments below. Please view, share, subscribe. Check out my Facebook page, My Seal Fan Gives Hope. And be positive out there.